from the tiny chapel on the Greek island of Skorpios, the first public appearance of Mrs. Aristotle Onassis, formerly, of course, Mrs. Jacqueline Kennedy, widow of the late president. The millionaire shipowner and his bride seemed oblivious of the pouring rain and the persistence of newsmen alike. But for Jackie, a Roman Catholic, there's trouble with the Vatican. Her new husband's first marriage ended in divorce, so this one isn't recognized by her church, though it's accepted by the Greek Orthodox Church by whom they were married. From Mrs. Onassis and the Kennedy family, as yet, no comment. Millions follow football, millions more do the pools. But the most popular sport in the country is played far from the madding crowd. On Coombe Abbey Lake in Coventry, the finest anglers in Britain meet to test their skill in the genteel art. It's the first national knockout angling tournament, and these are 80 finalists from 12,500 who entered the eliminating matches. A spot of ground bait to let them know it's dinner time. The lake is said to be well stocked with bream, roach, tench, perch, pike, gudgeon and carp. But no fisherman ever believes rumours till he's proved them for himself, and that takes as much patience as good tackle. He's disqualified for a start. But someone's getting something. Norman Hayes from Coleshill, Warwickshire, already has 50 trophies and 2 gold medals to his name. Everyone's after big fish and plenty of them, but the biggest quarry of all is the prize money, the largest ever offered in a British angling contest. £5,000 in all, with £2,000 for the winner. After the weigh-in, they find that Norman Hayes can only make 3rd place. Kevin Ashurst from Lee in Lancashire is the convincing winner with nearly 31.5 pounds of fish. And he goes home £2,000 better off. To win gold medals for one's country and still feel a second-class citizen is the bitter paradox facing many coloured Americans. Tommy Smith sets a new world record in the 200 metres with John Carlos taking the bronze. The triumphant prelude to that gesture of defiance at the medal ceremony, a gloved fist protest for black power. For many other coloured athletes, black power has a purely athletic significance. This was the fantastic finish to the 5,000 metres. With an incredible burst of speed after such a distance at such an altitude, Mohamed Gamoudi of Tunisia holds off Kenu and Temu of Kenya, 2 of the greatest athletes in the Games. Of all Britain's golden hopes, Lillian Board looked as certainty in the 400 metres all the way to the final straight. Lillian's on the inside lane, but in lane 5, the dark-haired Colette Besson from France. And Colette just pulled ahead by a vital 0.1 of a second to win. Terrible disappointment for Lillian, but 2nd place is still a silver medal. Mexico, the swinging city. Hungary Shivotsky takes the gold in the hammer. Dedicated concentration from Lucis of Russia, winning the gold in the javelin and willing it to the mark through every yard of its flight. America's Bob Seagren blasting off towards a golden altitude and a world pole vault record, 17 feet, 8.5 inches. One event where you can succeed even if you do end up flat on your back. from the altitudes of Mexico down to sea level, and the most extraordinary Olympics ever held. Ever since June last year, these ships have been trapped in the Great Bitter Lake in the Suez Canal. Now, to interrupt the tedium, the crews of 4 British ships and 11 of other nationalities have held their own mini-Olympics. I'm happy to say Britain scored 2 gold medals in archery and football. But the biggest reward must have been breaking the monotony and a sense of participation in that world of sporting competition so many thousands of miles away. Why beach her so close to the town? That was the question officials at Eastbourne were asking as the blazing Norwegian tanker lay less than a mile off the beach. After she'd exploded and caught fire out in mid-channel, a British rail tug had towed the Citicund nearer shore. Now Eastbourne's firemen had been helping to cool things down. But feelings ran understandably high among townspeople back on shore, right in the front line if the rest of the ship went up. In these close-ups of the shattered hull, you can see right through the ship. There was every chance of the Citicund breaking her back. 3 of her crew were still missing, almost certainly dead. But one thing to be thankful for, this wasn't another Torrey Canyon. She was carrying no oil cargo, although fuel oil from her engines was already seeping into the water. Nevertheless, though pollution was a minor hazard, there was still the ever-present risk of a major explosion which could cause untold damage to property and life in this famous Sussex resort.